Hello and welcome to Hump Day. Today is Wednesday, Hump Day, and I'm going to talk today about taking responsibility for your horse. And I often talk about this. I often say that we need to take responsibility for training our own horse. And there's many reasons why we need to do this, but I just wanted to give you some examples of how some people do take responsibility and other people don't. And this applies to horse training as well as many other areas in your life. And so I want to compare two ways of going about different things, one in one area of your life and another with your horse training. And what sparked this off was a comment I got yesterday from somebody, from Donna in Mississippi, and she wrote this to me. She said, I sent my horse to a trainer while I was recuperating from a broken vertebra in my lower back. Poor Donna, that's nasty. I checked his references, went to his place to find my horse snubbed to a tree so tight he couldn't move his head. Yes, I got him out the same day. Now I can't tie him, and he panics when working on the off side, as if he so much as he sees or smells a saddle, he comes unhinged. Sorry, it wasn't, I think I don't have any autocorrect on these comments, but anyway, so what happens is, he freaks out when she works on the offside, and he freaks out so much that if he smells the saddle, he comes unhinged. And she asked me if I have any suggestions. So what she's saying is that she wants to take responsibility for this, because we can just go on and blame the trainer, and we can always do that. We can always say, oh, terrible trainer, now this horse comes unhinged whenever I go near it. But the problem is that doesn't solve the horse's problem, does it? Okay, the terrible trainer, that's something in the past. What we need to do is take responsibility for what's happening to the horse now and say, right, what are we going to do? How are we going to address that? And it's very easy just to say, oh, this has happened and this is why it's happened, and therefore this horse is never going to be any good, or is always going to be scared, or is always going to be suffering from these problems. And that's really not fair on the horse. Somebody else wrote to me yesterday and said they were just amazed by the fact they'd watched a free video, and she said, oh, I just couldn't believe it, the way you told me that I'm training all the time, because I believed that I wasn't capable of doing this. I thought that only my trainer could do this for me. So she writes here, I'm absolutely in love with this video. It demystifies the inner voice I have when my horse does things. I say, I need a trainer. Where can I find a trainer? And not realizing that I'm training with every interaction. I was so shocked and surprised how good he is, and doubted my input at every effort. I often wondered how people train horses. This is such a beautiful insight for me, and a huge potential to change my inner confidence. And she goes on from there. Thank you, Stella. And that was from watching the first of that series of 4 free videos. I'll put a link to that in the comments for you, because if you haven't got it, I do recommend you get it, because it's a big thing. It's very easy to blame the old trainer. And I come across people, honestly, that have had horses for a decade that are still saying that horse's behavior is the result of a previous trainer. That it might be the case if that horse is perhaps suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Perhaps that horse had a really bad experience that it simply cannot recover from. And that might be one horse in 1,000. Most of them, if we stand up and actually take responsibility for what's happening to that horse today, we will be able to solve its problems for it. And that's what it is. This horse has problems. It's unfair to the horse to let it go through life with those levels of anxiety. So what's a similar situation in our lives where we can either take responsibility and step up, or we can just go on blaming somebody and take the victim's role? Now, let's take the example of your partner leaves you. Now, whatever might have happened, your partner goes off with somebody else, or something happens. Now, you can go home and tell yourself that was all your partner's fault, and you can get terribly depressed about it and say, oh, men or women or whatever, dreadful and I'm never getting in another relationship and that was all their fault and I was perfect. Most unlikely that you were perfect, isn't it, really? So your choice is you can do that and you can live in the past and you can play the victim. It's very easy to do that. Or you can step up and take responsibility and you can say, well, you know, perhaps this person left me because I wasn't great to be with, or perhaps, you know, it's failing on my part. It's most unlikely just to be the fault of half of that partnership. And so by taking responsibility, you can start to live in the present and say, right, what am I going to do about that? Well, you know, maybe if I go and look for another relationship, I won't do things the same way. I'll do things differently. And we can do exactly the same thing with our horses. So we look at what the horse is going through now. Let's say that horse that's come back from the trainer and you can't even get a saddle near it. We say, right, what can I do to get this horse over that hump and past that level of anxiety so that I can bring the horse and me into the present and do something proactive with this horse. So rather than being reactive, which is what happens when we take that victim mode and we just react to everything, we're going to be proactive and actually take control. And that's what I suggested to my friend in, where was she? Mississippi, my friend in Mississippi. And I said I would do that. I would take this as a really great opportunity and treat the horse as a completely blank canvas. So yes, it has had that experience, but it hasn't had that experience for years, and some horses have. So, you know, you actually got in there and rescued the horse, which is fantastic. So I would take the opportunity to start again from the beginning. Now, the advantage of doing that, especially with the Kandoo Equine online training system, is that you can, it's so different to what that horse has gone through before. You know, that horse before was tied up to the tree, it was probably hit, it was, you know, it wasn't involved in the learning process. So when you start, and you start with module 1, give to the bit, or getting control of your horse's emotional level, this is going to be so different for that horse that it's not the same as patching up the damage that's already been done. And that can be quite difficult to do, because that sort of training where the horse is muscled through things and pushed into doing things is very different from what we're going to be doing with the horse, where we're engaging the horse in learning and we're teaching the horse all about pressure release. So the horse will be able to say, oh, hey, this is new and I'm being involved in this learning. And if I do something, if I move something in a particular way, all that pressure goes away and I get rewarded for that. So the horse goes, oh, this is actually quite fun. This is interesting. So it is going to be very, very different. And it enables you to really make some great changes in your horse. And what I've found with horses that go from that really bad experience to, which is easy to blame on somebody else, I've found that they love it. You know, you can really see them go, oh, wow, are you serious? If I just move my foot here or move my leg there, all that pressure goes away and you reward me and you scratch me and it's just fun. I can do this. And you can feel the horses going, oh, I'm so clever. And they forget about the rest of it. And you can really make great changes. A lot of people, when they do, and this is a really sad, really common comment that I get, you know, I sent my horse out to the trainer and like Donna from Mississippi, you know, she checked the trainer out. She didn't just send it to any old trainer. She checked the trainer out and went and got references and everything. But it's just not worth it. You know, this is why I keep saying over and over, train your own horse, you know, learn to train your own horse, because you wouldn't do that to a child. And you shouldn't do it to your horse either, because you're going to be playing catch up for the rest of that horse's life, and you're going to be patching up holes in its training. So go along, have a look at the Kandoo Equine online training system and step up and take responsibility for your horse today. And I will see you tomorrow with Throwback Thursday. Bye.